Liberals soft on crime, everything these liberals do, have failed Canadians. Every crime with a gun now constitutes for a lesser offence, like house arrest. What's going on here? Here's the clip.
Canada has seen a 92% increase in gang-related homicides since this Liberal government took office. There were 124,000 more violent crimes last year than when this Prime Minister took office in 2015. That's things like rape and assault and stabbings, Mr. Speaker. Everything these Liberals have done for public safety has failed and made Canada a less safe place to live, Mr. Speaker. So when will this Prime Minister finally step up and get tough on crime?
Here. Right, Honourable Prime Minister.
We have frozen the market on handgun ownership. We are fighting gun smuggling and trafficking by investing yet another $137 million for CBSA in this year's fall economic statement. And our new legislation will also help revoke licenses for people who've been charged with domestic violence or stalking. These are evidence-based measures that will save lives. And while we're fighting to make our communities safer, the Conservative Party is fighting to make assault weapons legal again.
The honourable member for Kildonan St. Paul.
Mr. Speaker, this Liberal government's record speaks for itself. They're failing to keep Canadians safe, and violent crime doesn't just happen. It's from failed Liberal policies. It's things like the Liberals' Bill C-5, which ends mandatory prison time for serious gun offences, things like robbery with a firearm, extortion with a firearm, firing a gun with the intent to hit someone with the bullet, Mr. Speaker. No longer mandatory prison time under this Prime Minister. Now that criminal can serve house arrest in the comfort of his home. That's their approach to solving violent crime in this country, Mr. Speaker. It is ridiculous, and it's endangering Canadian lives. When are they going to smarten up and get tough on crime and clean up our streets, Mr. Speaker?
The right honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, we have now passed legislation to address the overrepresentation of Black Canadians and Indigenous peoples in the criminal justice system. What Canadians deserve is legislation that goes after criminals while protecting our communities and holds up in court, which is where the Conservative Party's tough on crime approach consistently failed to protect Canadians that way. If it's being struck down by the courts, it's not protecting communities. So we will not follow Conservatives' failed approach that doesn't protect Canadians and violates people's fundamental rights.
The honourable member for Charlebourg, Haute-Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, the Mayor of Laval is asking for help to fight against armed violence in Sorel, and at the same time, StatsCan has confirmed that murders in Canada and street gang crimes are at their highest level since this Prime Minister took power in 2015. Meanwhile, the Liberals, with the help of their friends from the Bloc and the NDP, voted together to eliminate mandatory minimum sentences for armed robbery with a firearm. The Prime Minister prefers to let criminals go free instead of protecting Canadians. Why? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, we've frozen the market for handguns. We are fighting smuggling, and we've invested $137 million additional dollars in the CBSA in the fall economic statement. And our new legislative measures will also facilitate taking away licenses from those who are accused of violence or harassment. These are measures that are going to save lives. We are working to make communities safer, while the Conservative Party is fighting to make assault weapons legal again. The honourable member for Charlebourg-Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, there are so many things that are said in this House that are completely false. But what we're seeing right now is that violent crimes are up 32%. And the police in Montreal said that there were 144 shootings in Montreal in 2021. That's one every 3 days. And that's taking place with illegal weapons. It's been said that our border is full of holes, and getting an illegal weapon is easier than it's ever been in Canada, Mr. Speaker. This government is spending billions to fight against honest citizens. Why aren't they spending the same money to fight criminals and gangs? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. With Bill C-21, we are fighting against assault weapons, so all new weapons will be automatically classified as they are created. We are investing in communities in Canada. We are strengthening our borders, and we have caught more than 2 times the number of legal weapons last year than we did the year before, and we're giving more tools to our forces of law and order to protect our communities. Meanwhile, the Conservatives want assault weapons to be legal again, but we are determined to keep communities safe.